Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And today we're talking with the amazing Katrina Smith about multi-dimensional soul healing. What does that mean? Well, you're going to find out that and so much more. We're also going to get into how to facilitate the remembrance and reconnection with your inner source light, how to release limiting thought forms and the deep unconscious overlays of the limiting thought forms, and how to ignite your personal life stream. What does that mean? And there's key codes and components to that, and we're going to get into that more. Katrina is an amazing facilitator, and it's going to be a fantastic conversation as someone who's really embodying and teaching from her capacity as she continues to expand on her ascension journey, inevitably becoming an ascension guide and a holographic light body specialist who focuses on multi-dimensional soul level healing. We're going to get into what all that means and so much more on today's call. And with that, Katrina, welcome to today's Beyond the Ordinary show.
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Oh, it's so nice to be here with you all and to have this amazing opportunity to co-create and to shine light and illuminate a lot of the different aspects of a lot of what all of us are going through at this moment of deep intensification, a lot of revelation, a lot that's bubbling up to the surface of our own personal journeys. A lot of us are really shifting gears to come into that more precise alignment with why we are here, what are our gifts, what we came to this incarnation to do as a greater mission, a greater devotional offering for the greater unity consciousness. As we realize it's not just us, we're not just doing this for ourselves. Everything is interconnected in this cosmic web, and a lot of the languaging can sound quite advanced, but it really is quite simple to understand. When you speak about multidimensionality, that's just, describing the fact that we are in many realms at once, at the same time, and it's just so, powerful to recognize the scope of us as presence, as light, as love and radiance that we get to animate in many different streams, in many different ways. And I'm super excited to be here and to join all of you in this amazing field of energy. And, it's just my deepest desire and passion, for all of you to be able to receive everything that you need, in your unique path that you're walking. And that's different for everyone. And I'm just really, really honored to be here. So thank you for opening that portal and that gateway. And I'm excited to voyage with you all today.
Well, we're definitely going to portal and voyage today. And something that you said really struck me because it's I want to challenge all of y'all in the most beautiful way. And it's more of what's happening in the call of the expansion that's taken place for all of humanity in different ways. And all of y'all who've been doing your spiritual work, your light work, your grid work, your expansion work, however you want to label it, we're really being called. We're being challenged in the most beautiful ways. Again, I'm calling this a challenge into the bigness, into the limitlessness that we can embrace, as much of it that we can. And there's the resisting parts that come through. There's the parts that are enthusiastic about doing it. And then there's that middle space where we're navigating and acclimating and kind of weaving back and forth. And you mentioned the languaging, and to bring some context into it, so then we can get into the expression of the expansion that is available to us. Let's start with holographic light body. You call yourself a holographic light body specialist. What does that mean? And what does that mean for somebody listening and the potential of what that can activate?
So holographic light body specialist, that just means that, I've really dedicated my life to understanding the inner layers and intricate structures of light, the grid systems of the holographic human, the holographic reality that we live. It's the internal natural intelligence that creates the structures and the geometries and the, precisely and exquisitely nestled layers of light, which give us that projection of our experience. It's like a movie projector when you think about a hologram. So, the quality and the reality of our life that we live is the expression through the coherence of our template, our temple. And so it's really the layers and the internal structures of energy and frequency and vibration that are nestled, within our divine design. And so when we're investigating a reality that, we don't prefer, where we're suffering and where we're constantly creating mechanisms of, adversity and struggle and strife, where our reality is not where we want it to be, then we go inward and we start to explore, what's going on there in the patterning, in the trauma, in the ancestral overlays, whatever we have overlaid on top of those crystalline structures of light, right? With energies that are disharmonious and are not really the truth of our soul, which is eternally free, which is eternally abundant, which is eternally creative. And this is about really seeing through the lens of more of the fullness of who we are, beyond just the mental level of, polarity, right? It encompasses much more of a vaster scope of who we are as an oversoul having a human experience.
Mm.
And so I really like to go into these deeper layers. I really like to explore, the genetics and the imprints through our DNA, the different expressions of everything that is so macro, as you said, the bigness of us. I feel like so many of us feel very uncomfortable and hesitant to go so macro
Mm-hmm.
because we're so accustomed to be so compressed and contained. And this is something that is perpetuated for generations upon generations, where we've really dimmed down our light and we feel smaller than, and we feel like we don't have the, capacity to be able to be in the fullest expression of our unique power with our unique gifts and whatever we're here to express. And so sometimes the micro can feel a little bit more comforting, but we're really being challenged right now with all of the energies that are available, that are supporting all of us to be able to feel safer, in the deep inhalation and exhalation and expanding into more of the fullness of more of the micro within, within form,
Mm.
fixing the expansion while holding the form at the same time. That is what this is all about, coming back to the body. I really invite everyone on this call as we move through all of these different aspects to really stay connected to the breath, stay connected to how your body is feeling, okay, and really allow these frequencies and reminders and these open opportunities for new possibilities to come through the body, right? This should feel relaxing. This should feel expansive. That's what we're looking for, that beautiful combination of passion, excitement,
Mm.
curiosity, but also calmness and relaxation. That's when we know we're in alignment.
Mm. So, and again, just to recap, right, I hear you saying also with the holographic light body, what you help people do is to, in essence, peel the layers off those places that hinder the fuller activation or expression of the essence of the light body that's available to us. And there's different ways that you go there using spirit, mind, body, as mechanisms and really the wholeness of navigating and that realm of potential that lives inside of us, again, to be those luminous beings, to the homo luminous, if you want to call it that, that some people express it with. How is it that you help people get there, Katrina?
Well, I work mostly in one-to-one settings as well as, group situations as well. But this is really about witnessing. So what's different about what I offer is that I'm not interested in taking clients on the wheel of constantly healing. I've
Mhm.
seen this time and time again, and I can't be in integrity and support people in that path because it's a polarized perspective. And to be quite frank, it doesn't ever end.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for the next thing. And what I really feel called to support beloveds with is to really come into a deeper state of remembrance. And so, okay, how do we do that? How do we facilitate remembering? Well, that is about creating a container. It is creating a Christed field that is supportive to hold the necessary vibrations, to hold the necessary energetics to help somebody to feel safe enough, to feel held enough in divine love. You know, it's so much of our wounding comes from the separation from the Divine Mother and Divine Father, the unity source, which we play out through our parents and everything that happens when we come into this world. And so it's that aspect of feeling held, right? We will never be able to touch the depths of our trauma if we don't feel safe enough. We will never be able to touch the depths of our limiting programming if we don't feel enough love, right? And so it's about really just architecting that field with so much purity that it's beyond words. It just really, it's a felt vibration. It's a felt sense of being seen where you're at and being able to together, right? This is not about the healer anymore, dynamic with the student or none of that. It's about co-creating actively, right? To come deeper into these unconscious autopilot mechanisms, right? And to come so deep within the self into the cellular material of the body to be able to access that remembrance, that unique stream of consciousness that each person is. And, you know, from there, realizing that whatever we have overlaid upon ourselves can create, again, the holographic projection of light. It can create a pretty murky reality. It can be very incoherent, right? But that doesn't mean the light source, the stream of consciousness and the divinity is not already there within. It can never be taken out of you. And that's what I feel is the entanglement that a lot of us have. We think that source is out there, right? And we think we have to do all this spiritual work to be able to be spiritual, to be able to be divine, but we already are. It's just a matter of collapsing the overlays, collapsing those structures and bringing in these, you know, waves of divine love and divine unification to help the light body come back into coherence, which is its default state. It's its natural state to shine in this way, to radiate in this way. Imagining all of the coding that has been nestled within our genetics for eternity, right? This is not just about our generational lines. This is about us as a soul that's moved through all these spirals of time beyond the human body. We are tapping into an Akash that is so advanced, and our body is the most advanced temple that there possibly is. And so in working with clients, it's about bringing them back to the body in which so many are wanting to escape that. You know, they want to get out of the body because they feel like it's a hindrance. They feel the density, they feel the time space lag that, you know, it's just difficult here in the human body. But what I'm here to illuminate and to remind each being is that we are awakening through the body. We are animating our soul through every cell, through every strand and every layer of light to bring the fullness as this beautiful offering for what we're here to create. It's all about creation. It's all about the possibilities that are endless, the magnitude of who we are, because we are artists, right? And we've been creatively oppressed for so long. We don't even know that we can create our own reality, right? That became a buzz term now. And it's like, but we don't really understand that we've got the inner mechanics to do that. And it's this, beautiful mastery of the Stargates. It's a beautiful mastery of the divine design that we already have. And that's why we call it a temple, because it is truly a divine temple. And this is the seat of our soul in this body. And what a magnificent and exquisite miracle that we've all chosen for ourselves, right? That we've selected to have this experience and then contribute to the, the greater fabric that is continuing to grow. So it's really about coming back to the body. It's really about, honoring the body, honoring this form, and animating the fullness of our soul every day in all the ways that we show up. Okay. And having trauma doesn't separate you from source. It doesn't make you less than. It doesn't mean that you're not healed. I believe we're already healed. I believe I'm already healed. Okay. They're just at different levels of remembrance. Okay. And I feel like this is what I am so passionate about, is onboarding a lot of beings out of that polarity perspective of what's next, what can I heal, what other flora have I got going on, what other entity attack have I got going on, and get out of that perpetual cycle and start to move more into a graceful gnosis, because that's when the miracles really start to happen.
Yeah, there's a calibration that is very organic when you're in a resonant field in a container of a vibrational coherence that can't help but to put you in attunement with where it exists. So you mentioned feeling safe as a component. Yes. You mentioned feeling like you can be held. Yes. But the container, the person, the intention that's holding the container, there has to be an embodiment and a harmonization that that person carries to invite what's possible, because the field is intelligent. Our field is extremely intelligent and sensitive, and becoming even more empathically so, that we can feel dissonance really quickly, whether it's subconscious or conscious. And we're aligning more to those things that are bringing us into the harmonic of what you called, and what I believe is also accurate, that Christed consciousness, that Christed field that's lifting. And so navigating to that and recognizing how can be held and leaning into it again, not with the expectation that you have to heal all these other things to be welcome home,
Mm.
but knowing that perhaps those things that you're healing along the way are bringing other parts up of you as well that are
Mm-hmm.
ready to come up home in more fullness and more of what's available to you. So the way that you hold these containers, the way that the consciousness that you bring in, and what you also carry for me, which is paramount for what's available, is that you're not seeing who you're working with as a broken. You're not seeing them as disempowered. You're not seeing them as removed from themselves. But there is an acknowledgement that sometimes we do want to get out of our bodies. Sometimes we can see the future so far ahead, but we think it's here now, and we're confused as to why it's not existing in our present moment. And again, the calibration of the understanding and remembering, getting
Mm.
back into the connection, and trusting that what's flowing through us in the moments, even though it could be something that's projected out in our consciousness in the future, it's all in alignment with this relationship with that Christed consciousness that we're walking in. We just have to remember that we're walking in it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if you think about yourself as an instrument, right, a beautiful handcrafted instrument, we are all that in our divine inner templating. We are this exquisite instrumentation that gets to commune with the divine, to be a representative, to broadcast our unique message, our unique signature, because we all have different gifts. We're not all here to be standardized. We're all here to shine and refract, different angles of light off of the one source. And so we have this beautiful instrument, the harmonics of this instrument, but sometimes we need tuning. We need to tune that instrument,
I
right?
need
We need
tuning every day. Are you kidding me? Seems like
yeah.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, and even just like little attunements and,
Mhm.
a more frequency of little attunements where you just, stop in your day, whatever you're doing and you're busy, and you just take a breath and you breathe, the fullness of yourself, and you come back to a little reset of, the heart field, the Christ field, the 0 point unified core of your being, just with a single inhalation and exhalation. Sometimes that's the attunement that you might need. It doesn't have to be so it's so time consuming, like we
Mm.
were led to believe sometimes, right? And so this hologram, right, this divine design, this is what is enabling us to be hosted in our consciousness. So yes, it's going to be serving our journey to sometimes expand out of the body in more of, transcendental states, and that's absolutely perfect. But we're not here to do that at the expense of the human experience,
Mhm.
looking to escape. I've seen that time and time again, and it never ends well, because we've chosen to come here as a human being, right? To be present, to animate this body, animate our DNA, be a representative of our generational line through this incredible encodements and the DNA that we hold as creators. And we're here to create in freedom, right? We're not here to replicate anyone else or any other, sense of presence outside of us. It's about being authentic to who we are and offering that. That's, what I often speak about. It's the devotional template of the heart. It's like an inner temple, the cathedral of your heart, where the light is so loving, it's so innocently pure, that all it wants to do is just offer, just to give freely, right? To be able to devotionally create, because not only does it feel amazing to create, right? Not only does it contribute to the expansion of consciousness, but you're also leaving a living legacy of light through your genetics, through your DNA, of every single thing that you create, right? From an artwork to, a piece of music, to a business, to however you're supporting people. This is the energy transmission that we're all here to bring. And so, yes, sometimes we do need attunements, but that never is saying that, you're not divine or that you're separate. That
Mm.
is the polarized instrumentation of the mind that is limited in its capacity to understand. Okay. And we've for so long heavily relied upon the mind to process everything. And it will always put us in that, biwave geometry, that biwave experience, where I'm constantly healing. I'm not there yet. I have all this work to do, and it's the light and the dark, right? And there is a new experience available for us right now, and I would say, being 2024, more prevalent than ever before, right? Where this frequency of grace is opening up, like dilating the great womb to bring us all back into this more of a softness, more of a surrender, when we're in that process of remembering who we really are,
Mm.
and letting go of the masks.
Well, Katrina, and there's there's so much resonance in what you're sharing, and an intelligence of what's available to us. And again, I understand that that comes from walking that truth, from remembering that truth. But what would you say to someone who's listened, but I can't find my purpose? I'm still trying to figure out what my relationship dynamics are because I don't feel safe or received or seen. I I can't connect in ways that I can feel remotely safe, either going outside or with my own thoughts. Where does someone who's going through that on a continuous basis? I mean, I get that we all get it every once in a while. We all somehow glimpse it because we're human. And I think that's also our way of walking each other home. But those who are living perpetually in that state of not knowing how to get back to that aspects of themselves, and or knowing where to find it, whether if they're looking outside themselves or within,
Mm.
what's the foundational point that can help to build up the foundation so that the grace of that peace and dignity can return to us?
Mm. It's a really important question, because a lot of us are going through that right now. And I see that a lot, chronic depression, chronic apathy, just not knowing where the door, like trying to open the door and feeling like the door is locked, of how to really move forward. I spent many years working in mental health as a registered nurse. I have seen a lot of suffering and pain. I specialized in disability care with, beautiful beloveds that had severe, intellectual and physical ailments and disabilities. They were differently abled, and the struggle and the strife and the not knowing how to move forward and feel a sense of momentum, because it's a lot of us recognize that it's not about getting to the enlightened state and being there and okay, job's done, but we need to feel a sense of momentum. We need to feel like the inertia is creating movement to be able to feel peace within ourselves, that okay, things are shifting, right? And so I feel like a lot of us have in the human journey that has contributed to the very state that you just described of feeling completely lost without our maps and not even knowing or feeling our worthiness, right? That a lot of this has to do with the way that we have been experiencing the humanness, right? Through the ways in which we've been abused or traumatized or disappointed or betrayed. And a lot of what I see as really quick ways of actually coming back into harmony is about getting into nature, right? Because that is something that is so nurturing and so nourishing. This is the kind of energy that is what creates that coherent field, that divine space of nourishment of the mother energy that really helps us to drop our guard, to drop the stories, and to really open up our beingness to feel that love and that presence and that light that's always there. We are within that always. We are within the greater cosmic womb always. But sometimes we struggle to know, how to even feel worthy of receiving that, because we've been so accustomed to the negativity and, to the ways in which we've been harmed, and our innocence has been harmed as well. Of course, we're going to put these shields up. We're going to put all this armoring up, and we're going to continuously, tell ourselves these stories and negative beliefs.
And
But
the harm is there, but what's also happened is we've been disillusioned. And that carries ripple effects into how we want to create our future also.
Absolutely. And again, coming back to the holographic reality, it's like, well, the internal calibration, how we are as a being, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our sense of groundedness, that's going to affect the quality of the reality which we are animating, right? And so that's the other aspect of the victimization, when we realize that everything that we are creating or having as a lived experience, it is simply a corresponding dynamic between what we've got going on with ourselves. There is never really anything happening to us, right? And it's all energy. And I often say to clients, none of this is personal, right? This is all to do with vibration. The universe is never out to get any one of us in particular. It's just that we have certain patterning, right? And that might not be from your life stream in this incarnation. That might be very ancestral. That might be very ancient disempowerment, right? Or limiting beliefs that have come through epigenetically, that have been translated and inherited, and that you've come through as this beautiful path cutter to, experience that same difficulty and that same disillusion, but to continue to show up and find a way in that pathway forward to remember yourself as divinity. And so for those beings that do feel like, that the answers are not there and they're trying, I would really say, start to simplify, really start to come back to practices that are really, really connected to the body. Get yourself in nature, get yourself in bodies of water that can hold you in that plasma field. Because sometimes the talking about it doesn't really get deep enough. Okay. And with everything that's on offer right now, it can be so overwhelming, and it can really, really bring us into a state of anxiety and panic. Again, that feeling of like, we've got so much work to do. It's like this massive mountain of, different kinds of things we have to sift through and clear and purify. But I find personally going to nature is one of the best ways to bring you into coherence instantly. Okay,
Mhm.
without words, it's an unseen language and reciprocity between the mother frequency of nature that is there to hold each and every one of us. And the water aspect as well is super, super, super activating, right? But also very grounding and nourishing. And
Mhm.
that's the conditions that we need sometimes to be able to move in deeper into those states of absolute depression and confusion and not knowing how to take the next step.
Mm. Well, what you're offering also, and of course what we do through the show, but how you're offering to take people deeper into what I'm about to refer to is like, okay, we have the realization of this. And okay, this is showing up every once in a while in our reality, where it's like, how do we get back home? How do we get to a place where we can breathe? How do we finally land in a place that, wow, actually I feel good. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel good all the time, but I feel secure. I feel safe. I feel like I have a firm foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to that place, again, when you're in awareness of the container that you can be resonating in, then what becomes possible is extraordinary. And I know you guide clients into those containers, the remembrance of what's possible from the field, what's the opportunities when you're connected with your own truth. Again, when you remove those layers of those untruths and get to the essence of your holographic light body and the communication that happens there. So we're going to get into your special offer in a little bit because y'all are going to have an opportunity to work with Katrina one-on-one. And there's some other processes in there and some other modules that are just amazing that y'all are going to want to participate in. This is such an amazing offer, especially for the price. It's crazy. Um, but what I like to do, Katrina, is open up to some Q&A just a little bit. Some people have their hands raised. I want to take live questions because I want the audience um, to witness through example also the container that you just invoke so effortlessly. It's again just through the being. And from that, what's possible for us to attune and elevate no matter where we believe we are. There's that bigness that wants to keep emerging from us. It's like, well, what else is possible? What else is possible? What else is possible? And something that you mentioned earlier that I think is so important is, called the ascending aspect to connecting back to the divine when we're in human body and to understand that we know how to work ourselves, if you will, up the ladder. And we get to that point, but what happens when we get there and we're still in human form? And for me, it's a deep understanding that, well, we're descending, we're embodying because we're here to help our fellow brothers and sisters. We're here to exemplify, to shine that brightly just through our way of being. We don't have to create big social media platforms or courses or anything else, just the resonance of us living in that trust where safety isn't even a question of something that we have to maintain. We're
Mm-hmm.
just in that natural state where the awareness of what we're creating through our resonant field brings back the understanding and the reverence of our thoughts and actions as it affects others. And in that, the world and how can be affected through the resonance that we carry by being in resonance with what's available. It's extraordinary. But we find that we're no longer looking for purpose, that we're actually just living it. And that passion naturally comes through that. So it's amazing what comes through.
Yeah, and the purpose really being your presence. It's that is
Mhm.
your legacy of light. That is the light language of your DNA. That is it's a projector of consciousness. So everywhere you walk down the street, you engage with the lady at the supermarket, you play with your child, whatever, you are emitting and broadcasting that living legacy, and it's perpetual. And that is how your soul expresses. Okay, and that we think about the cosmic weavers, the grandmother archetype, the knitters and the basket weavers. This is all symbolic. Of course, they physically did that as well, but it's
Mhm.
symbolic of what was happening holographically in the ethers and the astral. in bridging these worlds and threading this new tapestry. And that's what we're doing through our DNA. I mean, look at our DNA. It's spiral. It has ladders, right? We are moving up and we're descending down as well, and embodying that light. We're animating our soul through this body. And it is all about resonance.
Mm,
And it's so beautiful when we can start to realize that we came here to create. We are creator beings. Not all beings in the universe are creators, and we are creator beings. We are here to modulate energy and project it, to express that through all of the different channels and the ways that feels most authentic to us. And we are artists. And, you know, we've come in here in these very challenging times of, you know, great polarity, of great density. We've come in and selected, we've handpicked our genetic lineages as this beautiful wild card to come in and offer new possibilities for those genetics to come into freedom once again, to remove those threads of poverty and victimization and warring, right, and separation, and start to thread these new codes and this new language of light, and create more coherence and more possibilities, right? It's about expanding the artist palette in all of the colors and all of the, you know, the iridescence,
mm,
right? The auroras, the metallics. We have so much to paint with metaphorically, but sometimes we think that that's not available, and we go to put our brush in the canvas and we've got no idea what to do. Go to the phone, show me how to paint something. You know, I need a tutorial, I need a recipe, I need someone to tell me how to do it. And we've lost confidence in our ability to create in this way.
mm,
Okay? The system, the way that that has been diluted, right? Where we've lost touch with that. But this is our birthright. And this is what this ascension is illuminating within all of us, that we can create the higher trajectory through us, right? And come into alignment with that through everything that's already within us. Okay. And so, yes, it's about creating that beautiful field to allow those veils to start to thin, allow the membranes to start to open so the plasma osmosis can start to happen, so we can start to feel more of the fullness and get a wider context of who we are, what we're possible to create, why we're here, because that context will help give us more of a navigation of the soul in the body, right? That's what the DNA is doing. That's what our mitochondria is doing. We've been so lost down here on Earth without our maps. We haven't known how to move forward. We haven't understood our position in all of it, in the totality, right? But this is inside of us, and this is what these sessions are all about, you know, coming together to activate that from a dormant state into an active state.
mm,
Okay? Not getting anything outside of you. It's already there within you. And there's something I just want to quickly mention about the matrix, because, you know, a lot of us think that the matrix is this, you know, corporation control system, this, you know, negative entity that's what we have to sort of engage with to move through life. But the matrix is really our mother. The word matrix in Latin means matter. It means mother. It means the matter, the substance of life, right? If you think about the word material, fabric, it's the mother principle, it's the mother energy, okay? And we have been plugging into a false mother to try to get our needs met, to try to sustain us, right? Through this fallen reversal matrix. This is not the true divine mother energy. And this is something where when we connect into our own light body, where we connect into our own cells and the plasma realm within us, we can start feeling more of that surrender, more of that nourishment. And that is just an open stargate to start to really rapidly clear and purify a lot of what's been bogging us down for a long time.
mm. Well, you know what? You started talking about your sessions, and before we go to the first life caller and to some of the questions in the webinar chart, let's go ahead and go through the special offer. April, do me a favor and put the link in the chat box, please, or Chris, if you'll do it. Y'all, there's the link for the special offer. Again, well, we're going to go through it in a second, and I'll go ahead and open up my page. But y'all click on that or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com /Katrina32. And it'll take you to that same space, same page. And I'm going to share it on my screen, Katrina. Um, Give me a second here as I pop it up. Um, this is amazing. This is like such an amazingly generous offer. Um, Let me get my little boxes out of the way here. Katrina, $99 for a soul healing session. Um, and for these other modules in there as well. So again, give us an overview of what someone can expect through one of these sessions or what they can show up with.
So in these sessions, this is really about meeting each person exactly where they're at and bringing in the fullness of the soul into this container to really co-create something new, these beautiful new possibilities and openings for a shift of perspective, because sometimes that's all it is. It's just our perspective that is hindering us from really moving forward. And, as I mentioned, it's really about creating this pristine Christed field, the Chrysophia. It's really the beautiful interplay between the Divine Mother and Father energy that is here to really hold you in that beautiful nourishment and nurturance and safety and security. And that really being the foundation for all of the deeper investigation and witnessing that we are doing by moving through all the layers of the light body, the programs, the negative associations, the inner critic, the patterning, the ancestral inheritances that have created these looping mechanisms in our lives and keeping us on this wheel and feeling frustrated and whatever it is that we find ourselves experiencing right now. This is about witnessing. This is about the observation in the most divine states of compassion for ourselves. Okay, so that we can actually start to move into these deeper layers of our beingness and start to bring into resolution what is ready to be let go of, what is recognized as inauthentic to our true soul essence, right? Trauma makes us somebody who's not authentic to our soul because we carry these heavy burdens, and that's not who we really are. We adapt ourselves, we shift and modify our, the person who we are to try to sort of get by and avoid our pain. But when we can really be held in this space, we can start to actually move down into these deeper unconscious programs. And it's very much tailored to the pace that the client is ready for. And
This is
so,
awesome. And I love how you're talking about alignment of the internal stargates. Again, the pineal, the heart, the reproductive, to ignite manifestation. It's again clearing and dismantling the false limiting programs and activate dormant crystalline genetics, activate unique key codes. And I know you all love that languaging. I know you can resonate with it. That's why I wanted to bring it up. So again, this is 60 minutes with you, which is amazing. But you added so much more to this. So what are these MP3s? What comes through for them?
yeah, so these are audio transmissions. So I've specifically created, I'm really lucky. My beautiful beloved is an audio engineer. He's a musical genius. So he's helped me to, create these beautiful transmissions, right? It's the music, it's the harmonics that you're hearing. It's my voice, it's the words, it's the intention. And what I've done is put together these 4 pillars of support that I feel the collective, really need at this time. A lot of us are going through massive shifts in our reality where, partnerships are ending, relationships are suddenly stopping, and sometimes there's a lot of residue and a lot of energies that, in this case, the etheric heart meditation that can really assist us in coming into that state of sovereignty once again, that presence and just letting go in of anything that is really holding us back, that is creating this energetic limitation, right? And to support us in moving forward. The second one is the mitochondrial activation. A lot of my work is very much about mitochondria, the motherchondria. So this is the DNA that we are so lucky and just miraculously bestowed through our genetics. It is a translation that can come only from the mother. Okay, and that's not to say that the divine father is aside, from this, but in this case, this is the preservation of this encryption of the mother, which leads us back to the point of all creation. It shows us and gives us that lived experience through our mitochondrial DNA of all of the codes of creation, all of the birthing energy. How do we create our reality? How do we change the trajectory? We birth it through our stargates, and the mitochondria must be in coherence to be able to do that. Okay, and so that's about, again, the mother principle. That meditation is really powerful. And then the thymus, right? This is the aspect of our immune system. There's a lot that's come up in the collective in the last couple of years around immunity, physical and energetic. There's been a lot of interference at play as well, a lot of heavy kind of energies coming into a lot of beautiful light beings. So this one really is quite multifaceted in really supporting the stargate opening through the heart and the thymus, remembering all of our glands are interfaces with the divine. They are the hormonal translation through the light body, through the blood of our divinity in form. And so this is really opening up through the heart and the back of the brain at the occipital cup to really bring through the soul into the body. And to assist the thymus with really having an effective immune response as well. And yeah, just the crystallization of our cells, bringing everything again into that harmonic, that beautiful instrument we talked about, into this harmonization, the crystalline essence, the Christed essence of who we all truly are. And that one in particular is important because it's all about our broadcasting, the truth of who we are as we express that out into the world. And that's a big one for a lot of us who are starting to feel into what we can offer in service.
The attunements to that are profound. This is all fantastic. And there's still another one. There's a 12-strand DNA activation.
Yeah. And, 12 strands is just the beginning. We've got 24, 48. It's endless. So we're just going to start with the first 12. But, 12 being the Trinity, the 1 and the 2 together makes the 3. It's the mother, father, child principle. This is the Trinity of our divine design, where we get to move up the rungs, up the ladder of our DNA. Every strand of DNA corresponds with a dimension. It corresponds with a chakra. It's a particular band of consciousness. Okay, and it's so important as we work sort of from the base, like our ancestry, our instinctual body, all of those records through the generations, moving up through the personality matrix, our mental mind, our emotions, and then stepping it up into more of our soul and our oversoul. And again, just organizing those patterns of light, giving love, giving presence, giving direction, okay, for that to come back into its beautiful natural crystalline state. But again, we have to provide the essential stimulation. We have to provide the devotional field, right? The right intentionality of how we're doing this. And so these meditations just really bring you into that state. And yeah, enable you to have that experience in your own time, in the comfort of your own bed or your own home, right? And they can be listened to multiple times.
Yeah, it's again such an amazing, generous offer, y'all. $99 for 60 minutes with Katrina. Be put in that container. It's like the feel that she holds is just exquisite. And to get these activations, I love that you've gone through the heart, through the thymus, that you're going into 12-strand DNA. Just it's again, what's provided there is just so supportive of helping us not just to break through, but to also hold and expand that
Yeah,
field
it's like a
within
little
ourselves.
toolkit.
It's a big toolkit. It's amazing.
Okay, big toolkit. And
Yeah.
it's not something where you want to listen to everything all in the same day. Like, be very discerning, be very aware of how much these kinds of activations, create changes in all levels of your being. That requires integration. So just trust yourself in what's the appropriate time to listen and how often you need to listen.
Integrate, hydrate,
Mm.
be in communion with nature and in stillness. And you'll be surprised how in doing so little, you're doing so much.
Yeah.
Right. Doing so little,
Right.
you're doing so much. So it's profound. And again, to get that jump start with the 60-minute session with Katrina is extraordinary. So y'all, the link again's in the chat box. $99 for all of this, y'all. There's a two payment option also. So if you want to pay $47.50-ish cents, right around there, today, and then in a couple of weeks, the other portion of it, it's an easy way to access it as well. I mean, I highly recommend it. My session with Katrina is like we got on a call. It's like you've got to be on BTO. Are you kidding me? We got to share you with as many people as possible. So here we are, and now you have the opportunity to work with her as well. So amazing. I hope you all take advantage of it. Katrina, thank you for the special offer, and I'd love to go ahead and start opening some Q&A.
Amazing. Let's do
All
it.
right, so let's do it. So again, anybody who wants to ask their questions, raise your hand, type your questions into the chat box. Uh, Anitri or Antray, or pronounce it for me again because I forgot. My
Anitra.
Anitri, welcome to the call.
Thank you for having me, John. Hi, Katrina. Thank you for what you do. Uh, it's all about tools and resources, and you're appreciated. I'm currently trying to figure this all out. It's a bunch of like confusion for me most days. I know that I'm just supposed to let go and flow, but then my I guess third dimension self wants to control it and not flow and want to syllabus and thesaurus and how to do this and what to do. I just need help with figuring out like what it is that I should be doing. If you can help me with what my purpose is and what my gifts are, and if you can just help me to get into a more of a flow state, like what should I be doing, instead of what I am doing because it's not working for me.
Well, first of all, it's so valuable to know that what you've been doing, it feels like it's not working. Okay. If you think about the feedback to your soul, like the greater picture, when things aren't working, that's also really valuable because it's showing you this is not the right way for you to go. Okay. You've tried that, it's not working, being very mental about it, trying to figure things out in a mental, temporal way is getting
Yes,
you this result. Okay.
yes,
That's the first thing, to come into more of a state of honor for the discomfort, right?
Mm,
Recognizing that this is all valuable. It's not only that when everything's, growing great and we're in our stride and everything's amazing that we have value. The struggle is still very valuable. And of course, we prefer to be in a different reality, of course. But this is what's helping us to get there because it's showing us, it's giving us that insight that the way that we've been approaching it is not necessarily the way that's going to get us into sync with our soul's vibration and what the greater mission is. And so
yes,
what is coming through regarding your energy is to really trust in your body to be the barometer of what your mission is. That will never really come from the mental scape of what we think we're supposed to be doing, all of the thought forms. That gets very noisy. It can get really chaotic and difficult to manage. I've been on this path forever and I still have that issue with my mind. It just doesn't turn off sometimes. And again, as I said about the instruments, this is a ping pong show between hemispheres. It's a polarized instrument. So it's always going to give us a polarized reality. Okay. And it's so important for us to allow the body to guide us, the somatic body. And what does that mean? It means taking a deep breath, coming into a space of simplicity, less of a doing, like, oh, I'm doing a meditation, I'm doing this, I'm studying this, I'm reading this information. And instead just coming back to this state of connection with your body because your body has all the answers, right? Your cellular structures hold those talents. They hold the living memory and the archives of your soul throughout all time and space of what you came here to do. That is registered, it's imprinted in the plasma in every cell of your body, in all of the fluids. We are 99.99% molecularly water. not just 70 something percent atomic. We're 99.99. We're bodies of water. And water is the most programmable substance in the universe. It holds memory. So what does that mean? That means your body holds the living memory, the library of what you are here to offer to the world. And that's why it's frustrating when it's not working out, because we know there's something more. Okay. We
So
feel
the
that.
things that I see and the things that I hear, like it's not like hearing in my head, like I hear actual talking outside of me. Mostly on the right side, left side, just the high pitch ring hasn't come in all the way, but I hear like someone, something, or some things talking. And then I see things like numbers all over the wall, or large colored orbs, or like a projection in front of me, like a movie playing in front of me. So it's like I'm just trying to figure out like what's happening to me. Most days it's real intense, some days it's minor, but it's constantly here.
Yeah, and that's going to start to happen a lot more and more for a lot of beings, because these perceptual gifts through the DNA that is repairing with what's happening with our sun, what's happening with the great central sun, the photonic light, the plasma, our DNA starting to come online again. Okay, so that's opening up new perceptions where you're seeing different spectrums of consciousness. You're seeing the light orbs, you're seeing different glitches. Okay, you're hearing things, you're smelling different scents, and there's no object inside of what that scent came from, right? Like
Yes.
a flower or something. These kinds of things that is just reassuring you that you actually are, coming into more of your gifts. But it's so important to do what you can to bring the mind into the authority of the heart, to send down all of the mental energy into the heart stargate, and to start to connect to the body. Okay, to start to feel the body. It's a very different way of going about something that is often very hypermental in our ascension journey. Okay, we want to take on so much more information. We want to read all the things and have all the activations. But in terms of our capacity to make sense of it all, it has to come through the body. The body is the hosting mechanism. So grounding, being in nature,
Yes.
being in bodies of water. I'm in nature every day in the forest. I have to. I literally can't go a day without it. I'll go in the pouring rain, but we need it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And that will help immensely.
I think another
Thank you
important
so much.
something really important also is that we have to entrain the safety within us. And again, we've been taught that to be in those other realms, to hear things, to see things that are not normal, quote unquote, uh, is scary or something that we have to be careful with. And so a journaling practice can be really good. Just asking questions to get to know, to create the safety, to create the intimacy. What are you trying to show me? Who are you? Where do you come from? What's the message you have for me? Do those numbers mean anything? And if you get an answer, wonderful. If you don't, wonderful.
Okay.
But to be in communication, it's part of what we're learning and how we're bringing each other home, how we're ending separation, is that we're becoming conscious communicators. We have to, and that includes being communicators with these worlds that we're beginning to normalize in ways that no one has ever taught us to normalize. And so to be still, to be okay walking up to a tree and say, hey, what are you telling me right now in nature as you're laying in grass? To inform the water before you walk in very ritualistically, may I come in? May I honor you with my body? And can I be honored with yours? To create the dialogue. Again, then that comes from the heart, not from the mind when we dialogue with the intention of intimacy. But when we're dialoguing from up here, again, it's one of the quotes that my guides gave to me a long time ago. A question asked from the mind seeks to manipulate. A question asked from the heart seeks enlightenment.
Right.
Ask from the heart. Ask from the heart. Keep coming in. And again, the attunement of what Katrina's mentioning here and what she's bringing in, and that it's powerful. Again, we get to bring each other back home in that. So
It feels
blessings.
loving. It feels loving. It feels really good. it doesn't feel scary at all.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't try to figure it out. Be with it.
Thank you guys.
All right. Blessings too.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue on. Christine, let's go to you. Tara, we're going to get to you in a minute also. Uh, Hi, Christine. Can you unmute your microphone, Christine? Can you find that button?
Okay, I think
There
I
you go.
got it now.
You
Thank
got
you.
it.
Thanks, Katrina. Thanks you, John.
Mhm.
I am trying to deal with the ascension of a lot of things, and I am in the journey the last few years, and yet I have had an estranged daughter, and my emotions with that connection with her and her children, my grandchildren, I still am grieving. And I'm trying to figure out how to let go of that emotional with my ascension process. I realize that this break between her and I are, she's done it for me, not to me. I get that. But at the same time, I also feel that I grieve my grandchildren, the missing of them. And that's the part that I have a hard time with, letting this all go. Can you help?
What's coming through as a reflection is really that your ascension journey is through that experience. That's why it's come up for you.
Okay.
It's been created. It has been specifically, it's specifically come into your reality because it's an initiation for you. And a lot of initiations are not comfortable. They are full of grief. They are full of pain. And again, back to the part that I spoke about with the value, it's not only the easy and fun and joyous things, right? The aspects that we love to show about ourselves. It's also in the deepest, darkest aspects of our personal experience that can really bring us through, these passageways, these rites of initiation. And that's a massive one when we speak about mother-child bonding. This is the devastation that's happened on a global level in many realms. The very reason why a lot of us feel unsafe, where a lot of us feel separation, where we don't feel nourished at all, and the reason why we have plugged into that reversal matrix that is extracting our life force, right, that I spoke about before. But what I would say to you is that this is what is, although it is really uncomfortable and pains you and you would prefer it to be a different way, there's something here that is illuminating and reflecting back to you and opening to move through that. So it's about coming into through the grief. The grief and love are on the same spectrum. It's incredibly heart opening to experience the depths of grief.
Yeah.
Right? As much as it is to experience endless love and feel full of this beautiful, joyous love and an open heart, grief cracks us open. Okay. And it's important to work with what's coming up for you. All right. And to be aware of, where we might be projecting, where we might be bringing in that, that polarity, that separation energy, and really allowing the heart to help you to come back into yourself. This is intimacy. This is how the heart opens through these experiences of pain. Right? Yeah. I've seen this time and time again. Right?
I feel like my heart has really been open the last year and a half since this has started, and it's been expanding, and yet I still feel these pings of pain throughout my ascension, and I know I'm here for more purpose. I believe this, and I know that this is for me. I really truly believe that. I just miss my grandchildren, and that's what really hurts. And yet I resonate with everything that you said. So thank you.
So
Katrina,
welcome.
Katrina, how would a session with you um, be of assistance to Christine or someone in a similar situation?
Yeah, I was just actually going to mention how the exact same thing has played out in my reality with my grandmother and my mum. So yeah, it's very painful because, you know, I've wanted to connect with my grandmother, me being the grandchild in this case, wanting to connect with my grandmother and not being able to. And you're just feeling that broken chain, that link. And so with these sessions, this is really all about the presence of the divine mother energy. It's the womb worlds. It's about really coming back into connection with that nurturance within you, right? And that doesn't mean that it has to play out in perfect peace and happy families in the earth plane. It
Right.
usually, it very frequently doesn't. But that's not an indicator that you've done anything wrong, right? There's a lot that informs the relational dynamics in this timeline, and it's very much connected to other kinds of realms, other experiences, different karmic, you know, baggage, different things. Okay, but this is not hindering your ascension. This is actually contributing to your ascension because it's helping you to crack open the longing and the missing that you feel of your grandchildren is an incredible signal to the greater cosmos that is helping to broadcast that truth of your heart, that you wish to be reunited, and you will be, okay, without any attachment to how this plays out in this realm. Okay, as long as you are authentic to your truth, then that's all you need to do. Everything else will organize itself around you. You don't have to worry about that. And if you miss your grandchildren, that just shows you how much your heart has its capacity to love. Okay, and that clarion call will be answered in one way or another.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah. And Christine, as again, you're talking about ascension and it's happening for you. And again, we talked about this earlier. And what is it when you get to those places that perhaps other people around you haven't had the opportunity to experience yet? Well, you get to come down and you get to hold that space. You get to be that container. You get to be that Christed field for what's possible. So again, with the integrity of your intentions, with the
Yeah.
integrity of your innocence to come down. And this is part of the initiation for all of us, y'all, that are doing this. So as we go up, as we are liberated from what people would call the matrix and whatever your interpretation of that is, but really separation. From separation, as we come back down, we're here to be beacons of
Yeah.
that unity. And in that unity, we're going to feel the constraints of separation. We're going to become more sensitive to it. We're going to be able to spot it, and we're going to wish that we're another way. And it's important not to hold the judgment that it's wrong in separation, but hold the grace and the compassion, knowing that everybody is making their way back home. And we can facilitate that by being the beacons of what's possible from having gone through the ascension process and holding the container. And again, that's why I love Katrina's work, because she helps us to expand into that bigness of that true field. Truth is truth is truth. Love is love is love is love. And when you hold the purity of that, the compassion of that, the devotion of that, the unification of that, then your purpose is very clear. And you don't need to seek it outside of yourself.
Yeah, and I would also just add to that really quickly that there's a lot of trauma that prevents us from being able to accept reunification and reconciliation and intimacy with another if there's a past hurt or something has broken down in a relationship. There's a lot of walls that we can put up. Okay, but that doesn't stop us from communicating with the soul of that person. Okay, beyond, you know, who they are in the physical, we can always communicate and connect with their soul's presence. It's not all lost. Even if they, you know, won't pick up the phone and they don't want to meet us, we can still connect with them in other ways, with more of the higher nature of their true soul that's outside of the pain. that doesn't feel stuck and doesn't or has resentment or blames someone in some way or whatever it might be.
All right,
Thank
blessings to you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ooh, okay, how beautiful. Let's continue with Tara now. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you for having me on.
Mhm.
Ignore my wild hair right now.
Yours, I have to wear a beanie. Are you kidding me?
One of those things. But Katrina, I'm also a nurse. I appreciate what you're doing. It is hard because you tend to look at the world in a way that is very matrixy. And from my perspective, this is probably the most random thing ever, but like what gets me held up is my animals. I love animals more than I love humans. And looking at my circumstance right now, my 15-year-old beautiful beagle is dying from kidney disease. And where I'm stuck is there's nothing I can do to help her. In the medical field, you feel this way a lot, where no, it doesn't matter how much you know, like spiritually or medically. Sometimes it feels like in this reality, in this matrix, there is nothing you can ever do. That's where I'm at. So taking a step back, what is the truth? That's my question.
The truth will never come from outside of you, not from me or not from anyone else. That is a very intimate discovery and uncovering within yourself through all of these initiations. You know, having an animal that has been a guardian, that has been a companion, like you said, you know, more so than a human. Like pets are consistent, they are loving, they're loyal, they're just like all the qualities of which so many of the time we don't get with humans. So I understand that, you know, I had a dog for 18 years and I had to put him down at the end and it was awful. But, you know, it's that is a guardian, that is a soul relating that you've had with this conscious being. And I believe a lot of like soul presence have incarnated as pets at this particular time to assist with the awakening process. It doesn't mean they're less advanced. It doesn't mean, you know, they are behind in evolution or whatever. I believe a lot of higher consciousness beings have come in as furry friends to help us to navigate these times that are very confusing, that are very difficult, okay, by, you know, being there for us, right? By giving us that love and that loyalty and that companionship. Okay, especially with a lot of the shifts in relationships, that is usually the core theme for a lot of people through this ascension. We are living and learning mostly through our relationships with others and through life. The truth is incredibly subjective to you. It's what you feel that is authentic within you. And, you know, this is something that we are all here learning to try to understand, you know, what is the truth? What is my truth? But my truth is going to be different to somebody else's, right? There is an overarching sense of oneness and an organizational cosmic order, of course. You know, there's the unified field, but we all have our unique individuation, and that's what makes this experience so rich and so versatile. Where, you know, we're co-creating with our light, with our presence in different ways. Okay, and so your truth is going to be really different to my truth. But I understand that, being, because I was in the medical field as well, like working in hospitals, patient care, respite care, doing all this work for a lot of years. And You know, it's that interplay between medical or like scientific temporal, like we need to prove this to be something that's real. We need to have evidence. And then the more metaphysical, spiritual, intuitive aspect of ourselves that is really tapped into a greater wisdom. It's a greater knowing beyond the instrumentation that's currently available. We don't have things that can measure what we can feel, right? The telescopes are getting better, but it's still not there yet. Okay, so it's really important to weave that together, to see, you know, the multidimensionality that you are, and to make choices that really honor your truth, no matter what the outcome is, no matter what ripple effect there is in the field. As long as it's authentic to you, you can walk with integrity. That's what matters the most right now. And it doesn't matter what you know, anybody else's perception of you is. That's an external projection, and that need not even impact you. Right? And you know, with your beautiful dog, you know, this is a beautiful bond that you've had with a soul, with an energy that has come in to assist you on your journey. And you know, that's not an easy process to go through loss or grief in any level. But just like we spoke about before, that is often what opens our heart more and more and more to tap into that Christed field, to tap more into our soul. These are the experiences that bring richness to our lives, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult. We don't want to have just an easy life. It would just be like flatline, you know, on the heart monitor. We have to go through these waves and ups and downs. It gives us an incredible vastness. It gives us the initiations that set us up for our mastery, right? It just depends how we choose to move forward, to take on that journey, right? To bring it in, to receive it and recognize, how is this actually supporting my greatest rising, right? And using it to our advantage, working with that.
Something that comes up for me, again, both of you with your health backgrounds and working with people, and it's like in the human experience, it's like you're so trained to help to facilitate, to engender longevity and to save someone almost at all costs, to do everything that you can. And at the end of the day, all life transitions into another form. And so to get into a place of faith and trust of divinity and the divine plan of the soul, of when it's ready to transition, and to let go of control of that, because and not knowing, the truth is, the part of you that isn't landing with the truth is the one that wants to control the outcome, and rightfully so. You don't want to lose one of your best friends or a beloved. And so to reconcile that with the human experience is all part of that. It's the agony and the beauty of being human simultaneously, right? It's the initiation that reminds us just how much we have loved through the grief that we experience, because we had that much love that we can grieve so much. And to embrace that, and to remember that the love that was given to you was never in vain. The love that was given to you grows exponentially, so that we forget when we get caught up in the grief of separation in physical form. And how beautiful that we get to navigate all of that into remembering at these higher aspects. But honor the process, honor the grief, honor this beautiful being that is transitioning, and hold him with reverence and compassion. Because if you can't do anything, if there's nothing really available for you to facilitate, then wow, the honor of you being able to hold that space and to doula the transition is one of the greatest gifts that another soul can give to you in human form. Amazing. Yeah, so blessings to you, love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Amazing what comes through. I love the space you hold, Katrina. Wow, it's just it continues. Let's go to one more caller. Y'all, the special offer of Katrina with the session and the modules and in this space. Y'all can feel it probably on this call. I don't know how you couldn't. But still, it's just wow, just immaculate. The special offer, 60 minutes of Katrina, the modules in there, these attunements, these transmissions are all included in there for $99, 2 payments. You can access the special offer also by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Katrina 32. And take advantage of it. Sign up for your sessions, get on the calendar. And with that, Sonia, let's end the call with you today. Welcome to the call.
Yeah, I was like sort of praying that I would be chosen. Thank you so much. It was a question regarding mitochondria. I've been in the health field, having graduated in pharmacy, and that I've got that same thing going on with. I'm able to sort of work with the energetics, with clients in the past. I have, but for myself, it's different. I always get sort of locked into the medical side of it more so. So when it comes to my own health issues, like working with the energetics has always been more challenging. It's like heal thyself, isn't it, really? So I was interested in the mitochondrial aspect because 20 years ago, when I underwent a lot of stress, I went to have a scan done, and I was told, because my mother had died of a brain hemorrhage and so many things were going on, I just wanted to get check that out. I was told, oh, that's very interesting. You've got some your mitochondria playing up. I can't remember the terminology now that she used, and she said we need to keep an eye on that. And I was just wondering whether that's part of the program. I have signed up for Katrina's program, so whether that mitochondrial aspect would help resolve whatever's going on there. Because she's got a piece on the mind. I'm not sure if I'm being clear with my question.
Yeah, I think yeah, and I really resonate with you because I'm the same. Like as soon as I feel something, it's like that medical voice. It's like, oh, you better get a scan, you better get that checked out and get some definitive, evidence of what that is. And of course, that's important to a certain degree, but there is this deeper, vaster, intuitive knowing of the wisdom of your body that we spoke about. Its default is for coherence. It's the crystalline light body that informs the physical body. Okay, so if, like they said, your mitochondria is playing up, well, that depends what they were meaning by that. But your mitochondria are not only giving you chemical energy for your day, to go about your day, to meet the energetic threshold of your day, it's also how their cells actually can breathe, right? And it is also the way, you probably have heard about ATP, adenine triphosphate. This is how the animation of the soul comes through the body. This is my greatest passion, mitochondria, because it's something that's been so overlooked, right? It's the genetic records that are tightly encrypted through the maternal line, so much so that, on the sperm tail, when mitochondria is wrapped and it tries to come into the egg, the mother egg deactivates the father's mitochondria. It can only be maternally encrypted. And so that is really why, on a spiritual level, we are, we're moving through this interplay of spiritual and physical, and both are very important. We're not casting aside one or the other. We need to integrate them. All right. And so it's about really understanding what really is the function of your mitochondria. What is it really doing in your body? And why is that so significant to your healing, to your homeostasis, to your connection to the divine in this body, in these cells, in the tissues and the physical material of your body. And so if there's something that is out of alignment there, it's about bringing those natural alignments back into coherence again, back into correspondence. with the natural architecture, with the divine intelligence that's already within your cells and your DNA. So we have the mitochondrial organelle, but then inside the organelle in the plasma medium, there is the mitochondrial DNA, right? They are little toroids, if you look at them more multidimensionally. And they are those navigational maps, right? Because they are stargates. They are ways in which we navigate as a soul into this body. And that is how, when we connect it, and we have that unbreakable legacy all the way through the matrilineal, the mother line, we find our way all the way back to the great womb, the primordial sound of of the, the darkness, the infinite possibility. And so this is why it's so important for all of us to start to come into recognition of the creation principle, the mother energy, right? And how that translates through our cells and the physical material of our bodies, because the mitochondria is everywhere in the body. It's not only in the reproductive system, it's everywhere. And that is how we are eternally connected to that source point, which what is the source point? That is all freedom. It is all harmony, health and wellness and regeneration, fulfillment. Everything that we are moving towards in this ascension is a lived memory through our body, through the mitochondria. And that is the open source pathway. And so that is something that we can explore in this session to really see, what's happening there through the multidimensional lenses. But it's so important that, we give so much value as well to our deeper wisdom beyond the mind, beyond the intelligence of the mind, and the way that we've curated that as a medical professional. And it's quite a delicate process, and I've had to go through that as well. It's almost like not unlearning, but just meeting them both and coming together into the oneness and recognizing the limitation so that we can then, unify that. That's where medicine is really lacking, because it doesn't honor the soul in that body. It's just looking at symptoms. It's just looking for data to cross-reference on a chart, right? This is not how we are spiritually. There are so many factors involved in our blood chemistry, in our, hormones, in our skin, in our organs, everything that this beautiful temple is expressing as our consciousness. So perhaps we can move into that, and you can, on the private call, we can see what was actually going on with the mitochondria, and then, open that stargate and move through and see what metaphysically is going on there with the mother frequency through the genetics, because there's something calling you into that. Otherwise, it wouldn't have shown up.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much. Just one small note. When you said about going on the multidimensional level into the looking at the mitochondria from that aspect, did I hear you say torus, or is that just my imagination? You did say multiple torus.
Yeah, the DNA. If you think about helixes, double helixes, in the mitochondria inside the organelle, they actually make donut shapes. So they're kind of circular loop, and that creates a toroid emanation of frequency, an electromagnetic field.
I'm smiling because that's why you've got it in the image in your program. You show the DNA, and in the image you've got that showing up.
Well, our whole body is full of toroids.
Yeah,
that's
lovely. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's how we connect with the cosmic quantum field.
Yes.
Way to catch it, Sonia. See,
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
right there.
Thank you.
Blessings
Thank
to you. Great to see you. Y'all, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. The replay will be up all week long. Just give us about a couple hours to get it up, and the video rendered again, so you can come back and watch the replay and immerse yourself back in this field that Katrina has so beautifully facilitated for us. Katrina's amazing what you're sharing, and again, the space that you hold, I called it earlier, is exquisite. Thank you for that. What final words might you want to share for everybody that's listening and in what's available as we're moving forward in this amazing, beautiful world.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And
Mm.
I think that what wants to come through is really just, let's start to envision and imagine what the possibilities are. Okay, beyond any lived experience, beyond whatever we've been through, right? Or whatever way this has played out in the systems in the world. Okay, let's allow that to exist. Okay, but let's open our hearts and let's open our minds, our imaginings, our divine beingness to really recognize what's possible. Okay, this is the time when the energetics are opening the field for miracles. I often talk about the miraculous nature of our existence, the miraculous conception, right? What does that even mean? How we can create in this exquisite, miraculous nature by the very virtue of being the source. We have that within, we're tapping into that. And so let us create miracles. Let us be a living, breathing, walking legacy of light with every way that we show up, in the tiniest little ways when no one's even perceivably looking at you. That's when it counts. When you're not, when you don't have an audience. How are you in your day-to-day life? How much integrity do you have? How are you demonstrating that Christ Sophia, that mother, father, unified, loving, pure heart that you all are? This is all your original truth. Okay, and that gives us such a wellspring of compassion for others. And the more that we can be in that power, that's the true power. It's not manipulation. It's not taking it from someone else or getting revenge or seduction. That's not power. That's an entanglement, right? The true power is really knowing the purity of your own heart. And that is a very sacred and innocent vibration that does no harm to anyone. It simply seeks to expand and uplift and contribute. What can I offer to this day? How can I make more miracles through my sacred instrument, through every word that I speak, through how kind I am to myself, even if I'm having a bad day, right? And things feel like they're not working out. How can I soften into more grace? It's in all the little things that really, make the biggest impact. And so it's so important that we start to imagine and meditate on and feel what is possible outside of the constraints of what's been available in the past, because that is all taking care of itself. We don't need to worry about that.
Yep.
We just need to be okay with letting go of the old creations. We may need to grieve that. We may need to grieve the loss of the old identities, the person we thought we were. But that beautiful passageway and initiation opens up just the vastness of the newness of who we truly are, that we get to embody and we get to experience. And we are not doing this only for ourselves. Our DNA is working in many realms. So what you're creating right now, it's being created in other levels. Okay. And is what you are creating going to be energetically impactful in 10 more years, in 100,000 more years? That's the question. So let's dream bigger.
Dream
let's
bigger. Yes.
feel the possibilities, right? Of what is
bigness of who we are. Let's embrace that more and more every day. Breathe into it, attune to it.
The time is
the time is now. Beautiful, Katrina. Thank you so much. Again, y'all, the link for the special offers in the chat box. Katrina, you're amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for reaching out, for coming on to the show. And thank all of y'all for just being the brilliant loves that you are, about to each and every one of you. Blessings. I look forward to seeing you on the next call.